Hello, my friend. Have you ever gone silent when it mattered most? Walked away from a conversation only to think, oh, why did I just say that? Have you ever felt like your message was completely lost in translation? Well, you're not alone and you are in the right place. Welcome to Breaking Bad Communication, where we challenge the habits, headspace, and hangups that keep you from being heard. My name is Kathy Riley. I'm a communication strategist, founder of the Clarity Code, and your guide with over 25 years in the courtroom and another 15 as an entrepreneur, speaker, and trainer. This podcast is your real world playbook for mastering tough conversations, building unshakable confidence, and showing up with the kind of clarity that changes everything from boardrooms to break rooms to your own backyard. So put your seatbelt on, my friend. We are going to break bad together because there's a lot of mistakes, honestly, we make on a regular basis. And that is why I am so excited to have an expert on with us today, Miss Karen Jones. She's going to touch on a very serious subject, but it's something we all need to talk about. So here, listen to this woman. All right, okay. Karen helps people heal from grief. Grief, my friends, not by getting over it, but by learning to process it gently and intentionally. Her evidence based approach supports any loss, death, divorce, pet loss, health changes, career upheaval, loss of health, safety, hope, faith, anything. With years of corporate leadership experience, multiple coaching certifications, and her work as a death doula, Karen brings depth, warmth, and clarity to each healing journey. Through her certification with the Grief Recovery Institute, she helps clients find lasting emotional healing. She teaches us how to release unresolved emotions so they can no longer control your days and how you rebuild your connection to life while honoring your loss. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting, it means living fully while carrying the love and learning the loss has brought. Listen to this. This is a you can't heal what you can't feel. Let me say this again. You can't heal what you can't feel. Welcome, Miss Karen. I am so honored to have you on today.
Thank you, Kathy. It's so good to be here. Finally, we've been talking about doing this interview for a while now, and I'm just so delighted to be here. So thank you for having me.
This is a powerful conversation, and I've got so I'm just going to get started into it. I've got so many things going on in my head, but grief is something most of us will face. Okay, but few of us are taught how to navigate it, let alone talk about it. What do you think we struggle so much? Why do you think, I'm sorry, why do you think we struggle so much to communicate through grief? And what does the silence cost us?
Oh, that's a really good question, and it's the at the root of what I do. We in our culture, and probably all cultures, I would venture to say, we're not taught how to deal with grief. We're taught avoidance techniques like be strong for your person. Time will heal. Things of that nature where you're not really given an opportunity or encouraged to talk about it. We're encouraged to not talk about it, right? Go give them some space so they can go, mom's not feeling well right now. She just learned some bad news, and just give her some time to be on her own, right? So these are all avoidance techniques. And the truth is, grief needs to be heard, grief needs to be witnessed. So, what it costs us is unresolved grief that we bury and bury and bury deeper. So we think that we're better because we get on with life and time goes on and we stuff it and we stuff it, but it causes disease and mental illness and dis-ease in our body. So the cost is really great what unresolved grief does to us, to our mental health, and to our bodies specifically.
Oh, that's powerful. I'm living proof of it. So, a little bit about me, you know, a little bit, but the truth of it is, I've lost two children. I've lost the ability to have children. Um, and then in a very short period of time, I lost my mother and two dogs. and it was a stacking thing. And next thing you know, so here I am trying to hire coaches to figure out why am I not sleeping?
Mhm.
Why am I not sleeping? And it wasn't until I got to one who started asking all of the right questions. Just like some of the conversation you and I had, right? It started asking all the questions, and I'm like, okay, I've got two babies up in heaven. I've lost this, da, da, da. And have you ever grieved? And I was like, well, no. I mean, yeah, but no. Never really talked about it, never processed the amount of loss that I physically sustained. Now, mind you, it was over about a decade, but still, it doesn't go away.
Mhm.
What do you say to people who have navigated loss, not navigated, that's the wrong word, experienced loss? And, they keep plugging forward.
Yeah. I wish I had the statistic on that. I'll need to look for that statistic, but you are very common. I would say it's in the 90s, I honestly think, in terms of people actually properly going through. There's a series of very specific steps that you can do to recover from grief. But if you don't know the steps, then you don't know how to do it. But so Mary Frances O'Connor, she's a professor from ASU. She talks about how grief impacts our body. So what I say to that is, so she talks about how it impacts your immune system, and it stresses your inflammation. You have weakened immune system, so you're more likely to contract other diseases. Um, heart attack is a significant risk, specifically after the loss of a pet. So um, I'm so sorry for all of the losses that you've incurred. I can only imagine how difficult that must have been. And when I start working with clients, I make a metaphor of a backpack. They come to me and I say, take this backpack, right, in your life. So you're a child, you maybe lost a pet, you had a first love, you didn't get accepted to a certain baseball team or team, and then you become an adult and maybe you move, parents divorce, on and on and on. We all have grief in our life, right? And as we get older, sometimes they get bigger. So we have a backpack of all these griefs. And when we start working together with my clients, what I do is I say, let's take this can of worms that's in your backpack, pull it out, pick up the one biggest, juiciest worm, and we're going to deal with that. And so we put all the other worms back in the can and put it back in the backpack. So then we'd process that one grief. We look at all the sweet things, all the sour things, what could have been more, better, different. And we safely talk about those things so that you are able to think about all the things that you didn't think about that you stuffed down. And we put words to it. And I witness you. And there's this beautiful, specific, safe way we do it. And so the Grief Recovery Institute is who I'm certified through. And it's the only evidence-based grief recovery program out there. And it helps you get recovered from grief. So when I say recovered, I talk about meaning so you can remind yourself, remembering the love without feeling the regret as strongly. It's you get past it. You're finding new meaning for living without the constant fear of being hurt again. That was me in my deepest part. Because you're afraid to love, you're afraid to be vulnerable again, right? So if you just
Yeah.
close off and just stay tight and don't let anyone in and be close, then I can't get hurt, we think. Um, Recovering also looks like forgiving those who fumble with their words and say stupid things, even though they might mean well, they just don't understand. And so it's being able to forgive people that don't really know how to communicate with us. Um, and letting yourself feel and speak the truth of your heart without worrying about what other people are going to think or react by you saying your truth. So recovery is a really important aspect about getting on the other side of it. Doesn't mean you're forgetting the person, doesn't mean you're forgetting the person. It means being able to step back into life again in a way that you can experience joy and think about. In this case, we're talking about a person because we're talking about you, I think. But think about the loss or the grief that you're thinking about, and still step into joy while carrying the learning and the love that that loss has brought you.
Powerful. So, how important is it that we talk with, I mean, yes, it's important to talk with a professional like you to help us navigate this, but I think we're often trained or told to not talk about it, to not even with our like our friends or family. And then when we start doing that, we get emotional. And let's say we start crying. And what do you say to somebody who is getting emotional when they're talking about a loss?
Mhm. I listen. I listen. So here's the thing. Sometimes the listener gets uncomfortable because the other person is crying and they might go hurry to get a tissue box or something. But that's okay. If they're willing to be vulnerable and share with you, let them emote. That's a golden time. That's such a healing thing for them to share. And I say, let the tears roll, man. That's healing. You're moving through it. If you're not, doesn't mean you have to cry in order to move through it, but it often means that for a lot of people like me, I'm a crier, right? Um, but being able to process your emotions, you can't go around it. You can't go around the grief. You have to go through it. And the only way you get on the other side of it is to go through it, like any other deep emotion.
Oh, I love what you just said there. You can't get around it. You got to go through it, which means you've got to talk about it. I mean, it's not stuffing down, it's talking about it with the people that are around you, with the things like, oh, so how was your weekend? Right? Oh, I lost my dog, right? Or whatever happened, you've got to talk about it.
Yeah. And I
And
might say something like, oh, I'm so sorry for that. What happened? And then you might tell me about your dog, or you might say, I can't talk about it. And I say, I get it. Sometimes it's just hard to talk about right now. So I'll just be here with you. I can only imagine how difficult this must be for you right now. Right. So the
yeah.
better things to say are things that are true for you. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to avoid it. You don't have to give rationalizations about it. I mean, a lot of times people say things that are really stupid. You and I have talked about that.
That's funny you should say that. So that's where I was the next you talked about people stumble through their words, right? And there are things not to say and things to say, which is an excellent resource that Mitch Karen is going to share with us later. But one of the things I got to tell you, when I lost my mom, and it wasn't a sudden thing, and she ended up, she was in the hospital probably for about a month before she passed. It was about 3 weeks. So it wasn't, but there wasn't a bunch of things going on, right? And at the funeral and post that, family members, I love you, family, but you suck at grief, would say she's in a better place. And by the end of the night, I looked at my sister and I said, if somebody else, if one more person tells me she's in a better place, I'm going to punch them in the face. So, can you help us? First of all, what are some things that we should not say? Which, if you're listening, she's in a better place, they're in a better place. Wrong. Take that off your list.
I
And
don't know.
hopefully Karen agrees with me on that one. But what are some of the things we should avoid? And then give us also one or two things that we can say.
Mhm. Yeah. So here's the thing. When you're at a funeral or you're trying to support someone who's grieving, you want to be there for them. You're trying to support them. You want to say something. You don't want to say nothing, but we weren't really taught what to say. And so, yeah, she's in a better place. That's just like a rationalization, right? It's not something, it feels better for them to say that for them, but as you, the receiver, that means nothing to you. How do you know she's in a better place? What do you know about where she is right now? And it depends on your belief system, and we can get all complicated about it. But at the end of the day, it's not something that made you feel better in the moment. You want to be there for the griever in the moment and say something that makes them feel better. So, some things not to say is like, I know how you feel. That is usually followed with, oh, a story about when my dog died and my dog did this, blah, blah, blah. And that's the last thing you want to hear is that someone else knows how you feel. And then they're going into their story, making it all about them. I think that's a really common thing for people to do. So that's a thing not to say. Another thing to not say is be strong for your mother, for others, for someone else, right? Because again, it's directive. and it's telling them to avoid feeling. No, they need to, they're grieving right now. I'm grieving. I don't have the energy to be strong for somebody else right now. So people will often suck it up and be strong for someone, but it's not helpful for them. The truth of the matter is they need to be experiencing their grief and go through it. Um, just give it time. That's another one. There's no expectation of time of grief. Different people grieve. Everyone's grief is unique. So there, you can't give it a specific time. And time does not heal, by the way, unless you go through specific steps of series of steps. And you can be in the same place in grief for 1 year, many years. It doesn't, 10 years even or longer. If you don't deal with it, it can show up in other places. And I would argue it probably will show up in some other way. Um, or, oh, here's another one. At least she's not suffering anymore, something like that. That's not terrible, but it still doesn't make the griever feel better. So better
Mhm.
things to say. My truth that I like to say is, I heard about your mom passing, and I can't imagine what this must feel like for you right now. Something like that is really my truth. I can't imagine what it must be feeling for you right now, even though my mom has died, but I don't know what you're going through, right? So that's a truth. Or another thing that would be true is that I don't know what to say, but I can listen and I'll just be here
Oh,
and just be.
that's a good one.
And if they want to talk, they'll share. And if they don't want to talk, then you can just talk about other things and talk about helping them somehow. Like, no, oh, another thing also though is I hate that this happened. That's another truth. I hate that this happened. Cancer sucks, or whatever it is, right? So this must be a difficult time for you. Empathy is always the best policy when you're talking with someone. So don't feel pressured like you have to fix it or make them feel better. Just witnessing them and being present with them is what they need to hear. Or sharing memories. I love going to a funeral. And when I've had many funerals in my family, and people share stories about their experience of my departed one. I love hearing stories. When my brother died, I had college friends come and tell me all kinds of crazy stories that I wasn't a part of, right? But to know that he had special relationships with other people and what that looked like for them, and the fact that he mattered to them, that your loved one mattered to them, are really lovely things to share if you can have something like that to share. Or even to say, I'll support you. I'm here to support you, whatever I can do. I'm available in the morning. You know, most mornings I'm up early, or if you know them in some personal way, you'll offer to walk their dog or come sit with them or take them to lunch if you, depending on how well you know them, but offer to do something for them. I'd like to offer something specific and general so that they can pick up whatever they want for you to do for them. Just rather than saying, let me know if I can do anything. That feels like
Mhm.
a not genuine. It's not as genuine, right? So it's just saying nothing. It's not important to say the right thing. It's important just to be present with the person. Just be present with them. And even sitting in silence. If you've been there for a while and you're just looking out the window and you can just be there to comfort them, right? It's not about
Yeah.
fixing it. It's not about making it right. It's not about taking it away. It's about letting them go through it. So that's
Yeah.
yeah, those are the things it's really about being present for them because you can't make it better for them, right? There's nothing you can do. And there's no um, ability that you can fix and bring the person back. You can't fix it. All you can do is be there and be present for your friend. So I make a point to call my friends regularly when something traumatic has happened. I put it in my calendar and just send a card. Um, sometimes like a weekly card. It depends on your relationship with the person, but doing something regularly with them, because especially if it's in the case of we've been talking about death of a person or a relationship when a relationship ends. There are other kinds of losses that we can be talking about too, but since we're just talking about your mom, I'm kind of focusing on that. But it's just important to be touching base with them because when someone close to you is gone, there are neural pathways in your brain that you're used to being with that individual, especially if it's a relationship like a spouse or a partner or a pet. Your neural pathways are used to getting up in the morning and making coffee with that person and the smell of them and hearing the sounds that they make when they walk through the house. Your brain has neural pathways, and when they're gone, your brain is going to grow with neural pathways, but they're constantly searching for those memories. I'm
Oh,
That person is here and they're gone, or was here and now they're gone. And the dog, like when we've lost a pet, you've lost two dogs, we've all lost, many people have lost pets, and your horse, you're used to having a routine with them. And when you come in the door and they're not there for you, it's like, oh, they're not here anymore, right? It's that sensation of I can't hear them they're not here anymore. I'm going to want to call that person, and they can't. My brother, when he was gone, I used to talk to him all the time, right? And so our brain goes through an overdrive when someone close, or a grief that's really close like that of a person, trying to relearn where they are, the smells, the tastes, the imagery, the touch, all the different things. Our brain's on
yeah.
to reprogram itself. So it's an important time to remember to drink water, eat even though you're not hungry. Brain fog is a real physical symptom when you're in deep grief as well. So just give yourself grace when you're in grief, because it's very traumatic for your body, more than we realize. But the more you allow yourself to experience it, the more you're going to get on the other side of it. And again, it's not about forgetting, it's about letting yourself process it. And
I
and
think that's so powerful what you're saying there because how many times have you, after losing someone or a pet or whatever, you're like, you see them out of the corner of your eye, right? Or, um, like with my horse, I knew I was gonna get emotional. I smell them every now and then.
Mhm.
And I'm at my house. There's no way I'm smelling, horses have a very unique smell. I don't know. I mean, it's like, woo, pretty strong. But I'll be all of a sudden, I'm like, I smell him.
Mhm.
It's amazing. So I, that's powerful the way I love our brain is so amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's trying to connect the dots that
Mhm.
aren't there anymore.
Well, so when we experience trauma, and death of a pet or loved one is a trauma, we have a memory that occurs at a point in time. And that's why when you hear a song or have a smell or see something that is familiar, we get triggered, because that there's the emotion is trapped in your hippocampus in your brain. And so it's there. And so it's where the senses are. And so that's how and why we get triggered when we have certain memories that go across our path. I can't go and buy shoes in a department store and see an elderly woman with a 50-ish-year-old daughter buying shoes, because that's what my mom and I used to do. And sometimes I have to walk out of the store. Yeah. But
Yeah, I get that.
mhm,
Oh, that's powerful. So let me ask you this. Um, what's the timeline for grief?
mhm.
I mean, you think, we were talking earlier, like, just give it time, just give it time. What's the timeline?
Well, the truth is there is no timeline. Uh,
Yeah.
I will say that the timeline will go on and on and on unless you get some help, get some counseling, allow yourself to think about it, allow yourself to process it, think about the sweet and sour. But it really has to be witnessed to truly get through it. And what I go through with my clients is like a 7-week class. And we go through, it's very specific. It's been around, the grief recovery method has been around for 40 years. It's in 26 languages. Like I said, it's the only
Mm.
evidence-based program out there. And so, they've tweaked it over the years, and we've got it down to a science now. And so, um, when you go through the class, then 7 weeks could be the timeline.
With a specific,
With this, it can be as short as that, but it's still, you need to allow yourself to go through the process. You need to allow yourself to feel and grieve. Yeah, but it's
and
everybody. I would say I wish I had the statistic of how many people in the United States have unprocessed grief, but I'm sure it's very, very high. Like I would guess in the 90s. Honestly,
I'd be curious on that one too.
is not many people know how to do it. But see a grief counselor, that's another way. It's not like I have the only way, but I know my way works. Yeah.
Right? Right. So let me ask you this. When we talk about grief, um, and loss, Is there a significant difference between losing a spouse, or a child, or an aunt, or a dog, or a horse, or a pet, or a job, or a house? What's
I
break
would
that down for me.
say our safety in cases of sexual trauma. And the truth is, you can't compare griefs because one person's attachment to any one of those things that you just mentioned is going to be different than the next person's attachment to that thing. So when I start my class and I work in
Mm,
a group setting, I tell them you can't compare griefs. Just because you lost your mother and I lost my mother doesn't mean that one of us is grieving more or less than the other one, right? So you can't compare the intensity of the grief. You had a second question. What was I didn't answer your second question.
Um, I honestly don't remember where my train of thought went with that. So we're just rolling with it, right? I'm natural blonde here, so we just keep rolling. But so the part to gain clarification on the loss, the different kinds of losses. Um what do you say to somebody is like, "Oh, well, it was just your pet. It's no big deal."
Mm, well, again, you can't compare and say, well, it was a big deal to me. It was a big deal. And so that's an insensitive comment for the person to say, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, there are ways to approach this when you're talking with people and ways you can support yourself. So, okay, let's go down a little path here. And I think it's going to indirectly answer what you're asking here. So, my dog Murphy died and golden retriever. My kids had a sleepover. First time these twins next door came for a sleepover at our house. They've been trying to do it and they kept getting scared. Finally, they're like 5 years old, the kids are. And our dog died in the middle of the night at the foot of the stairs. And this is a description about how it's helpful to grieve. So the kids, we called the parents took their children away early. We covered the dog with a blanket. The kids went out the front door, and then we told our children, our like 5 and 4 year old children, that Murphy had just died and he's at the foot of the stairs. We all sat around his body. We cried. We talked about our favorite memories of him. Remember when he did this? Remember when he ate the chicken bones off the table and we thought he was gonna, die because he chicken bones and he didn't throw them up and we had to wait for a day to make sure he was going to be okay. All the sweet and sour, and we just talked about all these different memories for like an hour. And I told my husband, allow yourself to cry in front of them, teach them how to grieve. So we all cried. We were teaching them the role modeling, how to talk about it. Oh, he was so sweet when he did this. Remember when you were sick and you had your tonsils out and he crawled on the couch with you and he didn't leave your side? And then he ate all the Kleenexes. Sick and just you laugh, you cry, and that's the process of going through the grief. And so that was one example. When I moved away from my last house, I went in each room by myself and remembered all the things that occurred in each room. My son's bedroom, my daughter's bedroom, the kitchen table, all the meals there, all the birthday parties, the holiday Christmas tree in the living room. I vacuumed all the rugs in all the rooms, and I'm just as I'm leaving for the next homeowner, thinking about all the different memories that I had. And then I went off to the new house where everybody was unpacking, and I felt complete. I felt complete leaving the house. I was there. It was great. It served us well, and now we're on to the next thing. And so grief has to be witnessed, is my point here, right? So allowing yourself to talk about it, allowing yourself to cry, allowing yourself to express all the things that you maybe haven't thought of in years and you might have forgotten about. That's a funny thing when you have memories and it starts remembering other things, then you share with other people, and it's like, oh yeah, and remember this. And that's the process of recovery, is going through all the things. When we do things that people say like to avoid it, that's not helpful. Allow yourself to process the grief. It's important to
Ah.
cry if that's what's important, if that's how you emote. If it doesn't mean if you don't cry that you're not recovering or not, you're not going through it, but everybody does it differently. But allow yourself to feel whatever you want to feel. the sweet and the sour, because if you don't do the sweet and the sour, then you're enshrining them or you're bedeviling them. And some relationships had nothing good to find in them, right? And so, but actually, if you there must be something, even in the case of estrangements, when I work with people that have estranged relationships, and it's a parent, for example, well, did they gave birth to you, they brought you here. You can always find something.
Yeah.
Give you food for your life when you were a child or whatever. It's in some cases it's been that difficult to find things, but you can always find something sweet. You can always find something sour. And it's important to go through both when you're grieving, because that's what a true relationship is. It's got sweet and sour.
Oh, I like that. I like how you're talking about the good and the bad, right? And with each person, we all have good and bad sides. We all have good and bad memories. And if we're strategic and pay attention and are we do that purposely and purposefully, we will find those. So I love that. All right, my friends, as you're listening to this, I mean, if you, this is just such a powerful conversation. So please subscribe to this, comment on this, share this with anybody you need to know, because this is an amazing conversation and it's so powerful and it's one that we don't talk about much. So let me ask you this. Is there like a really great way to grieve? Like this is the best strategy out there?
I think what I just went through is probably a good strategy if you're doing it on your own, right? And you're
Uh-huh.
trying through it is so another thing that I like to do when friends that my grandmother died and everybody that in my life that has died, I light a candle and I think about them. I might journal about them. And a candle has life. If you stare at the flame, right, it flickers, goes up and down, it has warmth, it has beauty. And there's something really soulful and healing to look at a flame. And it for me, that's my touch point, my touchstone, to use Dr. Brazelton's term. It's a touch point for my heart to look at the flame while I'm remembering all the sweet things and all the sour things. And with the holidays coming up, there are going to be a lot of people that are struggling because their person might be there's an empty chair at the table, or it's the end of the year and my life isn't quite where I thought it would be by the end of the year, or they're missing their finances aren't what they wanted them to be. All the things that you can possibly be grieving about. And so allow yourself to process the information that you're going through, and not to things not to do are to uh, I call them short-term short-term emotional behaviors like drinking, shopping.
That was going to be my next question. What shouldn't you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
porn, all the things that are numbing. The numbing things, the list is very long. The numbing
Ah,
things, right? And again, those are avoidance things. So you're asking me what to do is allow yourself to process it. What not to do is to numb. And people have, strolling on social media, on and on. There are all kinds of things that we use as short-term emotional behaviors to avoid facing what we need to be processing and thinking about. Yeah, especially
yes.
so, because people are going to be triggered, again, with the memories, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the traditions, the things that are not happening. So, here's a suggestion for people with the holidays. If you have a person that you're missing that is no longer with you, the relationship has ended for whatever reason, for example, um, in case of someone, a close friend of mine just now, her husband passed. And so I suggested to get a candle, if that's whatever, get something that is meaningful for you, but it's something that's physical. It might be like a candle where you put seashell in when you're on at the beach, whatever little treasures you might have from that person. If it's your
Yeah.
your dog, it might be the dog hair. Well, you don't want to burn the dog hair. Maybe that's a bad example. But it's like a little shrine. And so, what my family does, a tradition for the holidays, is to burn a candle, and we talk about the person that's not there. My mom, my dad, my
Oh,
brother, the dog, and everyone can choose to share a memory if they want to about that missing the person that's no longer there. And we light a candle for every holiday and our person is there in spirit with us as we have our meal together. It's
I
really,
love that idea. Truly love that idea. So you mentioned triggers, and is there, does it ever stop? Do you ever stop being triggered?
I think they change. For me, they change. And for other people, once if you're able to process it and get on the other side, then you're able to remember with more fond memories instead of like a gut punch. So I mentioned walking
Ah,
into a department store shopping shoes. Now I can go into a department store and see that, and I'll think, oh, I remember when my mom and I used to do that. Instead of what I used to do is walk in and bawl, right?
okay.
Yeah. So it gets different. It gets you're able to remember the loss without having the gut punch about it, without the emotional kick, because you're able to remember it with love instead of with regret or remorse. And I just want to, we haven't touched on this yet, and I think that it's important to touch on about forgiveness. Forgiveness is
Mm.
a really important thing to strive for because you're forgiving, you're doing that for yourself. It doesn't mean condoning. Sometimes people think of if I
Ah.
if I forgive, then I'm condoning what happened, and they're not synonymous. They have different meanings. They have totally different meanings. So I always ask my clients to try and strive for forgiveness if they can. And if they can't, then we work toward just acknowledging that what's gone on. But forgive in the dictionary is to cease to feel resentment toward an offender. And the definition of
Oh.
condone is to treat as if trivial, harmless, or of no importance. Right? So there's a difference there. So just because you're going to forgive doesn't mean you're going to forget. It's possible to forgive and still you're not going to forget your person. Successful recovery requires completion of the pain rather than retention of the resentment. I'm going to say that again because
Yes, please.
successful recovery requires completion of the pain rather than retention of the resentment.
Oh, and I got to tell you, that was, with the passing of my mom, I felt like that was like it took me a couple steps to get there. And we talk about the stages of grief. Is that one of the stages of grief? And can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. There are stages of grief. They were developed by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross back in the 60s. And at that time, that was cutting edge, and there's a science behind it, but it was meant specifically with regard to people who are facing their death. They're in hospice. And so it was regarding facing your own mortality specifically. We've now learned people inappropriately or incorrectly apply those 5 stages to all grief, but that's not accurate. It's not how it was intended to be used. So we do
Okay.
experience grief, but it's not linear like that in on all cases, right? So you may
Okay.
experience denial, but you may not. Some people will experience all 5 phases and some stages, and some people may only experience one or two of them. It doesn't mean that it's just a different the stages of grief don't apply to all griefs basically.
No, that's fair. And what are they? Will you share those with us, please?
See that denial, acceptance. Oh my gosh.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
uh,
That's okay. That's okay. So there's,
yeah.
I got to tell you, truly, the first thing that happened with when I lost my mother is, uh, it was denial. I would have never, um, I would have never thought that I would have just been like, no, 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 no. And I truly was. I was like, this is not, this is not happening. And
Hmm.
I think that's like one of your first reactions. So what
Yeah,
else are they?
yeah, I remember that when I got the phone call that my brother was killed in a car accident, I just couldn't
Oh,
believe it. It's like denial is the first one I think for a lot of people, but anger is the next one, right? Like, Oh,
Yeah.
darn it. How, why'd you leave us? And then you start bargaining, like thinking, what could I have done differently
Oh,
this from happening? Um, Depression and then acceptance.
okay. And I can see how you could navigate. I mean, this sounds like so many different other things, in the world, like navigating that. People have their steps and their programs for all of that. But so can you say them again one more time so I can really hear this and our audience can really hear this? So
Denial,
it's denial,
anger,
anger,
bargaining,
bargaining,
depression,
depression,
and acceptance.
and
So
acceptance.
some people can go through all five stages in 1 hour, and some people
Right?
will stay in one or two stages for a long period of time. So
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong. Again, grief is unique. And so it's a matter of just recognizing that you're normal. Grief is a normal reaction to loss. It's we all go through it. And I wish that so I teach classes for adults who work with children,
Mm.
and it's really about allow, allowing and role modeling for your children how to talk about difficult things and just listening. Let them share whatever they're afraid of and listening to their age appropriate, listening to whatever they're saying, what's they're afraid of, and then give them age appropriate responses. But it's important to not give them too much information. If they haven't asked about it, then just let it
Yeah.
unfold over time as they ask more questions. Because when it occurs to them, they'll bring it up. But that's so important to talk with them, answer their questions, and if you don't know how to answer it, it's okay. Let me just, you can say, I don't know how to answer that right now. Let me think about it. And just, again, always tell
Yeah.
your personal truth. We don't have to fix
Oh,
everything for our kids, but it's important to be real and role model being vulnerable. I can't say that enough, is role modeling to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to cry or emote and share things that are difficult for you. I'm really sad that my mom died, or I'm really sad that the dog died. I'm really sad that I lost my job.
yeah.
I'm really sad that I'm sick right now and I have cancer. But what I do know is true is that I've got doctors and nurses that are going to do the very best that they can to help me get better. Or if that's not true, to help me feel better, to help keep me comfortable. You never want to lie to your kids
No.
because you're teaching them to lie to you later, right? When if they're going to have something that it might be difficult for them. I want my kids to feel comfortable to me to tell me what's not working in their life right then, right?
Oh, yeah. You're this conversation just took me back to a time where uh, I was young. I was young, and we lost a dog. And um, okay, well, it's a safe zone, no judgment here, but our this is way back when we had a farm in the family, and when the dogs misbehaved, which this one was what had acted out, bit all of this stuff. Instead of taking him down, Dad took him to the farm, right? So did the farm thing, but told us the dog got lost, ran away. And that afternoon, the dog's back. The dog's back. So my mom's freaking out, calling my dad, and dad's like, put him in the garage. Like so and we're the kids, yay! Puppy's back, puppy's back. And then dad comes home. He goes out to the garage. Dog just comes up, kind of, wiggling, waggling, looks at him, and he says, and my dad will say, I swear to God, he just, he was all happy, turned around, walked down the street, just left.
Your dad.
The dog.
Oh, the dog just walked down the street?
The dog just walked down the street. Said hi, basically, F you, and turned around and walked down the street. He said never saw the dog again.
Wow.
So again, now my parents had to tell me again that the dog ran away. So we're, you know,
Oh,
but
I don't mean to.
never
It's
get
yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
and that was a lie. So after that, Dad never lied to us about the dog again. If we had it, we always had a dog in our family. Always, always, always. From when I was a little girl. Yeah, you too.
Mhm.
And and not all dogs are good dogs, right? So sometimes you have to make a difficult decision. And he did. And my dad's as a hunter, he's a very courageous man, and he did what he thought he needed to do. And the dog came back and said, "Screw you, buddy," and walked out the door.
I don't
So
mean to
Dad's
laugh.
like, "I'll."
Because you're laughing, but as a child, it's very traumatic,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah. My dad used to say, when you lie, you have to remember what you tell people. So don't lie,
So
right?
don't lie, right? Just stick to the truth.
Yeah.
And so it was, that was a huge, so Dad never lied to us again about the dogs because he knew, he's like, okay, the good Lord was sending us a message here that this is not good, not good. But it's, all loss and grief is a rough thing, but it's a conversation we need to have. We cannot be stuffing it down.
Mhm.
So, if there's one piece of advice as we wrap up here, one piece of advice to somebody who's listening, who's navigating grief, they're navigating a loss. They're struggling with grief. They're navigating a loss. What's one piece of advice you want to give our listener today?
Mhm. I would say find someone to talk to, a friend, a professional, someone that you trust that can be safe with to talk about whatever you're feeling. Because what I know to be true is when you hold it in, it stays there and it will come up in some other way. You might explode when a bunch of losses happen on top of each other. You just explode with anger, emotion, disease. We internalize grief and it's really harmful for our bodies. So I would say find someone to talk to. Start with a close friend, and if it's really deep, go to a professional and get some help. There
Oh,
are a lot,
I love that.
there are a lot of
I
people
love that.
who help. And
Yes, yes.
over the holidays, don't isolate. Be out there doing things with friends, family. You can always volunteer. When you volunteer for other people, go serve a meal at the holiday if you don't have anybody to be with. You can help serve meals to the homeless. Help, it makes us feel better when we help other people. Shovel someone's driveway. Go shopping for them. Shovel the snow. I used to be from Michigan, so shoveling snow is a nice thing that, yeah, I was taught to do as a kid for the neighbors all the time, right? So, um,
Yeah, not fun, but nice thing to do.
it's fun. But the point is to you're not, when you're isolated, you stay in your head and you ruminate and you stay thinking about it.
Mm.
And do nice things for your body, eat right, exercise, make sure you drink lots of water. Hydrating our brain helps our neural pathways operate optimally. When we're not hydrated and we're drinking too much caffeine or too much alcohol, you're dehydrated and it just makes you feel crummy and your body and your organs aren't working as efficiently. So take care of yourself with self-care, journal, spend time doing things that you enjoy doing, whatever that is. Be with animals, be in nature. I think being with nature is also another important thing for people to get your shoes off, put your feet in the ground, watch a sunset, watch a sunrise, smell the trees. I had cancer years and years ago. And before my cancer, I used to walk my dogs all the time. After my cancer, I noticed the world in a different way when I walk my dogs every morning. It's I see the bushes and the flowers in the sky, the colors, the smells, the rain. It was like the world just turned into this multi-dimensional thing that had always been there right in front of me, and I was taking advantage of it. So allow yourself to experience life and don't stay closed off.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So I understand you have a resource or a gift for our listeners today. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, people always ask me about this, what helpful things and helpful things not to say, or unhelpful things to say to people who are grieving. So I've got a handout for that. Some of the things we mentioned, there's a bunch more in there. That's really helpful to have and share it.
Yeah.
And I have another thing about unresolved grief, how to recognize it and some things to do about it that can be really helpful too, how to take care of yourself. So those are two resources that I offer. And then I also offer a free consultation just to chat. If you're grieving and you're going through a hard time, I'm happy to just talk with you for a bit and see if I can give you some short-term things to do to feel better. And if you want to work, we can talk about if it feels right to work together. But I'm just here to be a resource for people, especially over the holidays. It's a tough time.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. So I'm going to put the links of all that in the show notes here. So if you're driving, drive, be safe, right? When you get to a place, you can, look at the notes here on there and click the links. What's the best way for people to find you, Miss Karen?
Um, I'll give you a link. It's Karen at IamKarenJones.com. Karen at I am Karen Jones, KarenJones.com. IamKarenJones.com.
Perfect. And that an email? Did I just?
That's an email, and I'm also on LinkedIn too. You can reach out that way. My website's down right now. Yep.
Perfect, perfect. All right, that's awesome. So what I would like to do is shift into a little bit more higher energy and let's get to know you personally. So I'm going to do it's like a fireside chat, little popcorn style where I'm just going to throw some questions at you. Don't think too much, right? And just whatever response you have, you have. Does that
Okay.
sound fair?
Sounds good.
All right.
Give it
Now,
to
okay, you ready?
I think so. I don't know.
Don't worry, it's not too
Call me up.
scandalous.
Yeah. Call
All
me
right,
up.
would you say
Okay.
morning or night?
Morning for sure.
Morning for
After
sure. Are
walk
you,
the dogs
you
early. It's at sunrise. Yeah.
at sunrise? That was going to be how early in the morning, so that can be, well, depending on the time of the year. Either way, that's pretty good. Coffee or tea?
Oh, definitely coffee.
Coffee. All right. Sweet or salty?
Oh, potato chips. I love salty. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I had my brain thinking you're a sweetie.
Yeah, you give me a cake or a cookie, I'll take chips anytime. Or cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I'm a potato girl. If got a potato in it, I'm eating it. Um,
Me
my
too.
husband just sent me this little video is you cook these little potatoes and you put it, those little waffle things that are small, right?
Mhm.
And you do that, then you top it with cheese and all of this and like throw an egg. It's like a breakfast. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
I'm
that sounds
gonna
good. Yeah.
I'm gonna try it this weekend. I'll let you know. It looks so good.
Yeah, have breakfast for dinner.
Oh, I love upside down night. I love that. All right, so if you were to have like one of your favorite meals, would it be home cooked or restaurant?
Oh, my husband's a really, really, really good cook. So we eat really well at home every night. But I also like to go out to a restaurant, nice restaurants, and try creative food. So I can't decide. I'm
That's okay, a little bit of both.
that one. I really honestly I can't force that one.
Okay, that's good. That's okay. Is there a food? What's a food you refuse to eat?
Capers. Don't like capers.
Capers, capers, capers. What are capers? Are those little round thingies that
They're really salty and briny. Yeah.
okay. I know what they are. I honestly don't but I don't know what they are, but I know what they are.
Okay, I want to add to that. I wrote a book on comfort zone stretches, and I've eaten um, a cricket empanada in Mexico. I saw you gag.
Oh, yes, I was taking a sip of water on that one. Holy cow, a cricket.
Oh,
God love you. God love you.
the whole,
So,
yeah.
I
Oh,
I love that about you that you outside your comfort zone.
yep,
Um,
yep.
which makes me this is a side moment, but my we have a friend that is a hunter So we have eaten bear. Um, my daughter ate turkey testicles.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't go there. But I feel you. But I'm impressed. I'm
Yeah.
impressed that crickets.
My motto is you don't grow when you're comfortable. And so when I get a tinge about something, I'm definitely not going to do that thing. And then I say it again, and I'm thinking, okay, I guess I really need to do that. Oh, and I kind of lean into it. But we don't grow when we're comfortable, right? I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm all about stretching my comfort zone. So
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, are you listening to this, my friends? You grow when you're uncomfortable. Ugh, love that.
don't grow when you're
Okay.
uncomfortable. Don't grow when you're comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you're going to read a book, is it paper or Kindle?
Audible. I
Audible.
only listen to tapes or listen to books. Yeah.
You only listen. Okay. Awesome. Beach or mountains?
Oh, if you said city or country, I'd say country. Um, Beach or mountains is kind of the same. I'm all about nature. I love eating dinner outside at night and breakfast, and even if it's raining, as long as I'm dry. I can't decide because I like both. I like water. I'm a swimmer. I'm a lifeguard. I like both. I can't decide.
Okay. We like both. Entertainment. All right. So if you were being entertained, are you going to watch a movie or a series?
I like series.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like a series. Yep, binge
I'm,
watching.
I'm with you. It's like an extended movie, right?
Because you get involved with the characters and you can have a more of a relationship with them over a longer time.
Yeah, they truly develop versus a movie. It's like in and out, right?
Yeah.
Love that. All right. If you were to, let's say you work out, which I'm pretty sure you do, would you say you're a runner or a walker?
Yeah, I've joined issues, so running hurts, but I'm a hot
So
yoga,
walk.
so I'm a walker. Yeah.
You're a walker. Got
Mm.
it. When it comes to the phone, do you talk or text?
I probably text more than I talk because it's efficient. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
important for me to talk too, to important relationships, important things. And
Yeah.
and yeah, talking is definitely better. But
Oh.
if you looked at over the percentage of the day, it's probably more texting than talking.
Right? And that's the true for me too. Like if we look at what I do more texting than talking, but the people that I want to really connect with, I end up getting on the phone with.
Mhm.
So like, family and clients that like I do the Zoom for the clients, right? Things like that. So, um, but generally it's texting. So it's efficient. Like you said, it's efficient. Okay, last question. Have you ever watched the movie Zoolander?
I think I have. Ben Stiller, is that a Ben Stiller movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're male supermodels.
Oh, wow.
Yes. With the blue steel,
Mhm.
right? The look. All of that. Okay. For those of you listening, we're making faces right now. I'm mostly making faces. So every time the characters walk in the room, a room, they have a walk-on song. And my husband used to joke like every time he walks in a room, he's got a walk-on song. So my walk-on song right now is Golden from that something Dragon Hunt, K-pop Dragon Hunters or whatever that is. Love that song. Love that song. What would you say? And I'm saying this to give you time to noodle because I think you know where I'm going with this. What would you say as you enter a room or take stage? What is your walk-on song?
Um, I like the Beatles song Here Comes the Sun
Oh,
because it's about rejuvenation and looking forward after difficult times. And t walk-on songs are typically like high energy, but I'm just keeping in the grief theme that Here Comes the Sun is like there's recovery, there's more to be lived, there's more ahead to look forward to. And so I'd say that the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun.
I love that. And see, to me, walk-on song theme music, right? What's your theme? And that's perfect for you. I
Mhm.
love it. And who doesn't love the Beatles? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So thank you so much for spending time with us today. It was truly an honor to have this conversation and to hold space for such a sensitive topic. So I truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Kathy, for this opportunity to share. And I just want to be there for you as well. This was grief is a difficult topic, and you're so bubbly, and so you made it a more entertaining and easy way to listen to talk about grief and to feel better about it. So, yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Truly my pleasure. And we're going to have you back on because I think this is a conversation we need to revisit.
Mm.
Um, because we never, honestly, you never get over it. I really don't. There isn't, I mean, you may go a day or two, maybe even a month where you're not thinking of that person that you lost, but you will think again. And it's it's always there because that person, that animal, that experience is, will always carry it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say there's two times, and I don't know who said this quote, but there's two times that you die. One is when you physically pass, and the second time is when the last person talks about you. And so, in allowing us to converse and talk about those around us that that are gone, but they still carry within us is important too.
I love that, Kathy. I love that. So that strikes the idea that carpe diem, right? Live every day to its fullest, make the best out of every day that we can because we never know how long we have. And the thing about grief is it doesn't always have to be painful when you live through memories. When you go through it and you get help to process it, you can live with the memory and have it be sweet instead of sour without that terrible feeling, that terrible ache. Imagine looking back on a relationship that wasn't necessarily positive and thinking, but I'm remembering these good things about that person. And I acknowledge the things that weren't great and I'm moving on, right? And so
Yeah.
being in that place of healing and allowing yourself to move on. And moving on doesn't mean forgetting, it means just stepping back into life and experiencing joy again. That's my wish for everyone, to always experience
Yes.
joy, no matter what you're carrying.
I love that. Moving on. We've got, even though we've lost something, we still have to live on.
Hmm.
And we need to do that with joy.
And remember what we gained from the relationship.
Yeah. So powerful. Okay, we will definitely have you. Truly an honor to spend some time with you, my dear. This is such an amazing conversation. And to my listeners, thank you for tuning in to Breaking Bad Communication. If today's episode sparked a new perspective or gave you a really great tool that you're actually going to use, then that's the kind of conversation we love to have. You know, share your thoughts, your feedbacks, post in the comments, right, on this. Let's hear from you about what's one of the tools that we talked about today that you're going to use, what's worked, all of that. I want to hear from you. And remember, powerful communication isn't about saying more, it's about saying what matters with confidence, clarity, and purpose. So until the next time, keep showing up, keep speaking up, and let's remember to keep breaking bad together. See you soon.